Mr. Irontrader. It is Monday morning, so it's time to go to work. All right, we're going to take a look here at Bitcoin, at gold, silver, crude oil, and natural gas. Take a look here at the old NQ, which is down 97. Now, remember today, or I shouldn't say today, this week on the 27th, NVIDIA has its numbers. So that's going to be very, very key for the market. And we have a holiday weekend, Labor Day coming up, so it's going to be a 3-day weekend. So a lot of people will be out of the office at the end of the week. Not me, of course, but most people. Okay. This video is for information purposes only, not a recommendation of buy, selling stock, about the ETF. Please like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Here we have Bitcoin daily, weekly chart. Now you can see, ooh, she got ugly today. Now look at what we have going on. Okay, so what we have is this 8-day now, crossed over that 21-day, and that's not good. Not good at all. And now we're headed towards that 50-day, which is going to bring this price right on down. Right? So that's going to be very, very strong resistance. Now, on Friday, we had this big rally, but remember, Bitcoin seems to be trading with the overall market, especially the Nasdaq. When Nasdaq wants a rally, looks like Bitcoin wants a rally also. So there's a correlation there, okay? So what we really want to watch is always just trade the charts. Now, when we ran up, we got above the 8-day, went right into that 20-day, and that's kind of pretty much where it halted. And then yesterday, Sunday night, if you're watching my video, you can see where it was like an inside day, but now we put in this lower low situation. Okay, so let's look at the downside here first. So what we're watching is today's low. You're looking at 111.35. What we're watching was the top of this candle. That was 111.220. Okay, so far 111.035, and now so we watch this. So now we're below that level. So now we go to the next level. Okay, you look at the top of that candle, 110.450. That's going to be next. Okay. Then we'll come over here, 110.265 level, and then we'll come to the top there at 109.685, and then we have 108.625 level, and then we have 107.840, and we have 107.680 level. Then we're going to come right down here to this 100-day, which is 105.774. Now, if we look here at the 21-day, we have that 107.81. That's going to be very, very critical. So that's just above here of the 100 SMA. Now, if we could rally on back, what we're looking for is Friday's low. That's that 111.805 level. And then we're going to come right up here. This is going to be the big boy. It's going to be that 113.952. That's going to be very, very key. Now, we can also take this up. So you have 111.805. We come up there at 112.075. We have 112.485, and we come to the bottom of that candle at 112.8820. Okay, those are your minor resistant levels, but realistically, you're looking for right there 113.652 level. That's your 50-day. Then right above it, we have that 8-day at 115.227, and then we have your 21-day at 116.786. So this is going to be very, very strong resistance. I just don't like anytime that 8-day curls over that 21-day, and now you're heading for that 50 SMA. So to reverse that is you have to get back above it to take it bad boy higher. So for today, what we really want to watch is we want to watch pretty much everything that's in this area situation as far as candle wise. Okay, but your big target there is going to be that right there, that 105.774 level. But before we get there, you're going to have that 21 SMA. Now you look at at 42. This is nowhere near oversold. The same way here, this was curling up nice. And now look at that, she just fallen right off the old map here. Okay, so here we have on the weekly chart. Now, the weekly chart still is very bullish. Okay, so you have bottom left, upper right. Okay, so you have a low, higher low, higher low. This price could come all the way down to the 50-day, and this still is a very, very bullish chart. I'll say so. Always remember that. Now, what we're looking for is key level is going to be right there. Now we made all the way down here to that 111.35 level. Okay, so right here on the weekly is going to be next is 110.150 level, and then we're going to come right there at 108.960, and then we have this 21 SMA sitting at 107.80. Now, obviously, if we lose that, then there's your big target. It's going to be your 100-day, and then you could come all the way down to your 200-day. However, the farther this drops is going to be a good buying opportunity to take it into the end of the year, kind of a situation. Now, right here now, we are only sitting at 57. This could come way, way down. The same way the green is now curling over, which shows you momentum to the downside. So realistically, by Friday, remember, by Friday, this is a weekly chart, we want to watch that 107 level and see if it can hold this 21 SMA here. Now, on the upside, you really need to get back above that 116.468, which is very, very possible. Now, look what happened last week. It came down, and we put a bottoming tail in there, and it rallied all the way back up to that above that 8 days. So let's see what we can do this year's. Okay, so don't have any opinion, just trade it. I mean, I'm just trading this on the long side, just scalping it, which is very, very good trading. Now, you can take this short here very easily with a BITI. That's an easy way to short on Bitcoin, but I'm just going to trade for a long time like I'm doing the gold and the silver situation. Speaking of the gold and silver, let's take a little peek ski. Here we have gold, here we have silver. Now, you can see here we're just basically sideways kind of an action. We haven't really done anything. We made this high today of 3417.8, 3423. That is good. So we have basically an inside day. Now, Friday we made that 3423, but all you got to do is look to the left of the chart. What do you see? 3423. Okay, see that? That was your resistance level. It stopped at cold. Now, if we can keep going back up here, we get above this 34.23 level, then what we're going to do is we come right to the bottom there, and you're looking at 34.45. Okay, that's going to be your target. Then we can come right to the top of this candle right here, which is 34.51, and then we have this 34.66 level. We come up there at 34.83, and then obviously your retest at 35.34 level. But what we always want to do is look to the left of the chart, and we want to watch the top of this candle, 35.09. You have to really close above that. That's the key. It's closing above it, not a pop and drop like we had there. Okay, so that's what we're going to be watching there on the upside. Now on the downside, the price right now is above all the simple moving average. So we really want your support level is 33.96. There is your 21-day. Next level is going to be, if I can get that in there, let's see, 33.88, and then we have your 50-day at 33.76. Those are all your key levels of support. Obviously, if we lose that, we'll come down to Friday's low here at that 33.62 level. The bottom of this candle, 33.53, and then we have your 100-day at 33.32, and then we have your retest at 3,300, which is basically just the bottom of that candle. But right now, again, we're right back into that sideways action kind of a situation. We had a good day on Friday, big rally, but let's just see what we can do today. So obviously, just watch Friday's high at 34.23. We get above that, then we can start ratcheting up all these other levels. If we can't, then we're going to need to hold the support to 21-day, 8-day, and the 50 SMA. Now, sideways action, around roughly 54. That's an overbought, oversold. The green is about to cross, but right now we just have this sideways consolidation. But remember, anytime you go do this sideways consolidation, a lot of times that builds energy, and when she rips higher. Okay, now again, it can rip to the downside just as easy. Now, here's on silver where we had that consolidation, and then she ripped up very, very nicely. Now, take a look at silver. Well, silver here had obviously Friday had a really nice good day, and so far we have this inside day. So what we're watching is that 39.09 level. Okay, so that's what we're good. So we're looking at that 39.02. Got just a little bit higher of it, but you notice that it couldn't close above that 39.02. Okay, so we had that closing at 38.88. Okay, so all you need to know is everything's right up there. Okay, so what we have is at 39.09. That's what we're watching. And if we can get above that, we'll come right to the bottom of that candle, 39.33 level. We have right here 39.52. We have 39.66, and then we have your retest at 39.91. Now, here on the downside, we're sitting at 38.65. So we really want to watch all this resistant level. See this right here? See, very, very strong resistance. Look how many times we hit this with this candle, okay? So if we lose this 38.78, then we're going to be looking right to the top of that candle at 38.56. That's going to be your next level. All right, so very, very easy. And then what we do is we just come right on down, look at the top of that candle, 38.34, and then we're going to run into that 8-day at 38.12, that 21-day at 37.96, and then obviously we have that 50-day right below it there at that 37.64, which has been holding very, very nicely. Now remember, as I say, one day never does not make a market. We had this nice big rally up. We had a nice big rally up, but so far it's not holding, but let's see how it can shake out. So just watch, okay, that high, that 39.09. If you can get above it, then we can just start aiming for that 39.91. That is going to be your target. You crack that, 40, 42, 45. Okay, very, very nice. Now, we have 56. That's not overbought, oversold. That could go either way. And your green is crossed over your red, so it shows good momentum going up. But let's just see how this day finishes. Let it work out some time. All right, let's take a look here now at crude oil. Here we have the old crude oil. Now you can see she's building up to a little bit of life going on. All right. We came there. The 8-day was very, very strong. Now you can see where the 8-day is starting to flatten and curl up a little bit. Okay. So we came all the way down here and we made it all the way, stair stepped all the way down to 61.45. That's going to be your key support level. All right. But as we're rallying up, you can see that the candles are getting a little smaller. But look at this 100 SMA. Now just always look to the past. Look how strong that was on resistance. And look how strong it was, okay, on support. So you got to really respect this old Hondo here. Now, crude oil, we got hurricane seasons going on. Another one is developing in the Atlantic. If it goes into that Gulf, that's going to be the key. Okay, if it goes up the coast, well, it's not going to really affect crude that much. But if it goes into that Gulf, you're going to shut ports down, you're going to shut rig down. That's going to affect everything: oil, natural gas, gasoline. Okay, so that's just reality, and that could send crude higher. Any kind of a war situation, that could send crude higher, just like we had here. Okay, but obviously when you have a war situation, same way with a hurricane situation, once it's settled, it does not end well. Okay, so always remember that. Now, what we're watching on the upside is going to be watching that 64.31, very, very key. Your next level is going to be the 21, 64.84. All right, and then we're going to go right there to that 65, 66.43. That's your 50-day. And then we have your 200-day at 67.49. We crack above it. We just look to the bottom of that candle, 68.56. The top, 69.58. And then we retest at 70.51. That is your upside. But remember, you have a lot of resistance, 100, 21-day, 50-day, 200-day, before we can even attack all that situation. Now, here on the downside, the 8-day is key. You have to close and stay above that 8-day, 63.24. If you lose it, then we can come up here to the top of this candle at 63.01, the bottom, 62.52, and then we'll come to the bottom there at 61.83, and then we have your retest at 61.45. Very, very nice. Okay, we lose that. Bottom line, there you go, 61.06. We'll come to the bottom there at 60.55, and then we have that retest at 59.74. Race bring that price channel across. Okay, very, very nice. Now, RSI, boom, you got plenty of room. You only had 47, got plenty of room to run. This, the green is below your red. You got plenty room here to go to the upside. So let's just see. But remember, supply and demand is pretty much intact. You got plenty of supply going on in the market. Okay, OPEC is dumping oil. U.S. is pumping like crazy. Okay, now the only thing we have to worry anything about is what's going on with Russia and Ukraine. If they get that deal there, then crude come off. But remember, hurricane season from now till about the first week of October. Okay, that is going to be all hurricane season. So crude right now is a two-way trade situation. All right, let's take a look here now at natural gas. Here we have old natty gas. Now you can see it's just not getting off the old schneid. Okay, it just can't go. Now, we put this low in all the way down here at 2.62. What we're watching is we're watching these candles. Okay, so what do we have? You had 2.68. We went below that. Then we're at 2.64. Okay, so next level, what we do? We just go right to the top of that candle, and you're looking at 2.57. So that is going to be your next support level, is basically 2.57, say roughly 2.58. Okay, then we'll come to the top of that candle, 2.51, right there. Okay, see? Nice, 2.51. Then we'll come to the top of that candle, 2.44 level. We have 2.37 level. We looked at the bottom there, 2.26, and then we have a big retest down there at 2.21. Now, not saying it was going to get there, but those are going to be your support levels. Everything you need to know is sitting right here. Okay, very, very easy. Now, this is looking awful pathetic. All right, so what we have to do back on the upside is we have to get back above that price channel, which is 2.68. Okay, very, very nice. Then if we can get above that, then we have that 8-day at 2.79. Then we'll come to the top of this candle, okay, looking at 2.84 level, and then we're going to be looking right here at that 2.92. You can see the 8-day how strong. Look how strong that 8-day is, just holding it right on down. Then if we can get above that, we have that 21-day, and then we can just venture all the way and up. Okay, so you have 2.96 level. You got 2.98. We have 310. And then we'll come up top of this candle, you got 315, and then we can come up to that price channel. You're looking at roughly 319, which is sitting right there. Then we have your 50-day, and we have your 100-day, and you have your 200-day. Now, eventually, natural gas is going to go higher. You're going into this winter season. Where I am, the temperature just dropped right on down. Very, very cool, but they're talking about a very cold, snowy winter. So let's just see how that all shakes out. All right. But if it does, natural gas will go higher. So don't have no opinion. Right now we have it's a declining chart. Okay. High, lower high. And obviously, waterfall situation. Everything is the 8-day, 21-day, 50-day, 200-day, 100-day. Everything is moving up is a 200-day. Everything else is just absolute waterfall. Now you're sitting at 32. This is not oversold. Okay, the same way we're here. This is not oversold. This could go much, much lower. So just watch this level here. Okay, so I'll be trading it both ways. Okay, UNG for the long, KLD for the old short ski. Now, eventually this would go, so I'll be looking here for a trade on UNG and then kind of hold that all the way to about the end of November, kind of a situation. But, we got to see, exactly when that's going to be. You don't want to buy it here, okay, if the price comes all the way down there. So we got to have some kind of something to tell us that different. Either going to have a higher low and she starts rallying up. You got to have a red dog where it comes all the way down, brings all the shorts in, and then it rises up. Or we have to get above this, at least above this 8 SMA to prove that it can go to the 21-day and rally up. Okay, so natural gas right now for the upside has to prove it can go higher. Right now, it's just on a decline. All right, let's take a look here at the old NQ. Here we have the NASDAQ. Now, this is the futures. All right, so all these charts look the same, whether you look at the Dow, the S&P. I like the NASDAQ. That's got always all my favorite stocks right in it. Okay, so what we have is we got this negative divergence going on, all right? And Friday we had this really nice day, but you notice how nice it held that 50 SMA. Look at that. See it? See, that's why you trade the charts. Rallied, ran it up, but where'd it go? It went through the 21-day, could not get through that 8-day. Okay, now what do we have? We have this red candle. So let's just see. So what we're watching on the upside is we're watching the 21-day. That's very key. Then we're going to be watching that 8-day right above it, 23,571, and then we'll be watching here Friday's high. Okay, so that's what you want to do. Watch all that. Now, if we can get above that, then we just follow the candles all the way on up until you hit that retest of 24.68. A lot of times what happens is you get this huge rally, and this is an overbought condition that just keeps rolling. So what we did is a lot of times you come on down and then you retest that. Okay, so obviously this went higher, but you notice it's this negative divergence. This does not go higher. And then what happens is it retests it, and then it sucks everybody in, all right? And then she comes down. And then when she starts losing, you lose this 50-day, okay? You lose that price channel. You're going to come right down to that 100-day and that 200-day real quick. Now, just watch this time of the year. It's not really good. Now, the key to the NASDAQ this week is going to be NVIDIA, all right? Now, on last week, they halted that H20 chip. Okay, so let's just see how that worked. They had some security issues. Some countries have security issues. So let's just see how that's going to be. Now, remember, no matter what their earnings are, it always seemed like NVIDIA, after the earnings, would sell off. Okay, so let's just see how that's all going to shake out. Remember, it's not the news that matters. It's the reaction to it. So let's just see how NVIDIA is going to set the tone for the market going into the end of the week. All right, RSI, well, you're sitting at 52. That's an overbought, oversold. The green is below your red. This is not overbought, oversold. So basically, we just want to trade this range here between this price channel. We're pretty much in it. Okay, so downside, 22,775. Upside, 24.68. So let's just see which way she rolls. All right, that's what I got for you. I'll be back here at midday trading, and we'll take a look at some stocks. And remember, trade what's in front of you, not what you want.